free of bullets and scandals, and did a little while up in the MF2, though. I don't know what he's talking about. For Cornelius Small Clay, this is like the people that hated Obama and now finding out their ACA insurance they're about to lose is Obamacare. I saw this real interesting video by one of them late-night cats, man. And I can't even remember which one it is right now, but he was talking about Obamacare. And there's another term for Obamacare, something, not the free. Yeah, the free and something health care or whatever, but they're basically the same thing. And they did this like man on the street thing when they went on the street and asked people what the difference is between Obamacare and this particular care. I forgot the term that they use for it right now. And, nobody knew the difference. And they were slamming, for the most part, they basically said they didn't like Obamacare because Obama was behind it. Because his nickname, or the nickname for the actual type of coverage had Obama in the name. And it was absolutely mind-blowing, man, how ignorant people are towards stuff like that. But the hate is just so built up that they really, really don't care. From Kaza, it's a crime shame that Bonds, Rose, and Clemens is not in. From Clay Darkman X Davis, let's be real, Stewies. White women will let down Hillary, not us. They chose race over sexism. Yeah, to a large degree, the numbers showed that that Caucasian women did not vote for Hillary Clinton. They voted for Donald Trump. Yeah, and his ideologies, which is crazy to think of. In this day and time where, women are trying to be, you hear all this talk of women's lib and being treated fairly, and it was like, Hillary, we don't like Hillary. We rather Donald Trump's platform. We like Donald Trump and what he's saying. It was very, very interesting. Let me grab a call. Caller, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about?
Doug Stewart, what's happening?
What's up? Who's this?
T from Huntsville, sir.
T from Huntsville. What up, baby?
Hey, man, chilling. Listening to the show as always, man. Hey, great topic today, man. On this Barry Bonds thing,
yeah.
I think this is, I've always said this, and it always tickles me with baseball and baseball writers. Okay, when I think about this, the whole thing with baseball is they've always been, it's somewhat of a racist sport in its origin.
Uh-huh.
And back in the day when it was only a white-only sport,
right,
they never speak ill of it. When they talk about the sport and they talk about reminiscing about the good old days when it was pure,
right.
They talk about Joe DiMaggio and, all those other – they talk about, like, Joe DiMaggio's and Babe Ruths and all these people that never had to play against black people, and they act like it's a non-factor.
Right.
And when it comes to these steroids, they want to act like it's a really big deal and there's an asterisk to be put on these players. And two problems with that. One, they pick and choose which players that they want to be upset with.
Mm-hmm.
And two, there cannot be a bigger asterisk than not allowing an entire race of people coming into the league to play.
Right.
But you ignore that because that doesn't upset you. That doesn't anger your sensibilities. But a player like Barry Bonds who doesn't smile for you, who doesn't talk nice to you, basically, I don't like him. I think he's an asshole, and that's enough reason to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. But an entire league that was racist and didn't want certain players playing, you could care less.
Yeah.
And when they talk about that era, they reminisce and wax poetic, and they're happy. And they always show those highlights. They talk about how great those players are and how nobody's better, but they never mention the Negro League player. They never mention the fact that they played against inferior competition. They never mention the fact that the Negro Leagues was a better, more athletic league with better players that would whoop their ass any time they played.
Right. And not only that, and you make a good point, T. What, 1946, the first year, Jackie Robinson breaks into the major leagues, and you're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how Jeff Bagwell is seemingly forgiven quicker than Barry Bonds, whose stats are double and triple as good as Jeff Bagwell's. I mean, a lot of this is very, very obvious, and I hate when I hear that rhetoric about, the purists and baseball is supposed to be this and that. And when I hear, it's kind of reminiscent when I hear Donald Trump say, let's make America great again. But for ninjas, when was America really that great,
Exactly. The further you go back, the more fucked up it is. So I mean, so what is great? And I guess the other thing about it with Barry is he was the greatest player in baseball before steroids. And for people that don't remember, he was putting up great numbers that the media ignored so they could cover people that were doing steroids.
Right.
So after so many years, he said, okay, maybe, allegedly, I might do it too, like everybody else in the league is doing. That's the other thing. The league let it go. They let everybody do it, but they were upset because Barry broke the records that they consider biblical. But nothing's biblical about records that were made in an inferior league when the best league was on the other side of town. So at the end of the day, man, great topic, great show. And baseball writers simply have no credibility because even Chipper Jones said before or after steroids, Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. And I'm gone.
Hey, appreciate the call, T. That's my man T from Huntsville. He's exactly right. He's exactly right. And it is BS. It is BS. Now, allegedly, you remember allegedly, and I say allegedly because all of this stuff is alleged. They don't have any facts. They don't have any proof. And if they did have proof on Barry Bonds, they nail his ass. You know, they throw him under the jail. Remember, allegedly, the only reason that Barry Bonds had this notion to use performance-enhancing drugs is because he watched Mark McGwire, to him a much inferior player, hit over 70 home runs. Right. And Barry Bonds looked at this and all of this commercial and all of this love and chicks dig the long ball. Barry Bonds like, wait a minute, this cat is getting away with this. Baseball doesn't care. They're not legislating against it. I might as well go ahead and do it too. That's allegedly what was going through Barry's mind and why he started using performance-enhancing drugs. Allegedly. Once again, there's no proof of none of this. But if that is the case, that's a fact. That's a fact. They turned the other way about Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa during that time, but for the purpose of this conversation, baseball turned a blind eye to Mark McGwire hitting 70 home runs magically in 1 year. I mean, they just turned a blind eye to it. And maybe it wasn't 70, maybe it was like 69 or something like that. But they turned a blind eye to it. And Barry's like, I'm a way better player than this cat over here. If he doing it, I might as well do it. Baseball don't give a damn, evidently, because they don't have no rules against it or whatever. There's nothing in the bylaws about using performance-enhancing drugs, so I might as well go ahead and do it. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's absolutely crazy, man, and I hate this type of rhetoric about how, I hate this type of rhetoric about, how things used to be. Things used to be, they didn't let ninjas play baseball until 1946. Right. So everything before that, all of the records, you were playing against inferior players for the most part, not all the way. But if you weren't playing black players, I mean, that says a lot about how competitive your damn league is. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I was trying to remember the term for Obamacare, the official term. It's the Affordable Care Act. So the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same things. They're the same thing. Basically, they just have Obamacare as like the nickname for the Affordable Care Act. That's it. They are the same thing. And I think maybe it's Jimmy Kimmel or whatever his name is, went out on Man on the Street and they were asking people, why do they like the Affordable Care Act more than they like Obamacare? Well, I don't like Obama personally. I just don't like Obama. Well, I mean, one is free and one is not. That's not the case. That's a lie. I mean, it's very, very silly. From Bro McDowell in the chat room on Spreaker.com. He says Obama received 400% more death threats than George W., which means that if W received 10 death threats per week, Obama received 4,000. That brother and his dedicated wife have been through a lot, Stewies. Wow. Yeah, I've been through a lot, man. One thing I will say, man, is, I mean, knock on wood, and I guess he'll probably still have Secret Service with him throughout the rest of his life, man. But you remember when Obama got that presidency and, for the first week, month, year, we were waiting to hear a report that he had been, an assassination attempt that happened. This man made it through 2 terms, safe and sound. Praise his holy name. As you know, there's some sick people out there. You know there's some sick people out there. There's some sick, deranged people out there. And I remember thinking the night or the day that he was inaugurated on the first time around, man, I was just like on pins and needles. I was cringing, man, hoping that that nothing crazy happened, man. And that man made it through year number 1, year number 2, year number 5, year number 7, year number 8. Praise his holy name, man. He made it through because there are a lot of sick bastards in this country. There are a lot of them, and y'all know it. You can tell based on the way this election went, and the way that the voting went. And there's some sick, racist, bigoted people in this country. And Obama made it 8 years. Him, his wife, his family, everybody's safe, man. Praise his holy name. It's a very good point. From Sluggo X Squad, even the black Secret Service members had to file a lawsuit for mistreatment. Shaking my head. From Corporate Brothers, stop the freaking presses. Have y'all seen the Jerry Rice is where he's wearing a Popeyes? I want to talk to y'all about that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that late last night, man. When we get back, I want to talk to y'all a little bit about that. I want to also talk to y'all about the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, or one of their secondary players, and a fine that he has to eat. Packers secondary in trouble. We're going to talk about secondaries in the NFL and the playoffs. But I particularly want to talk to y'all about Jerry Rice. You remember that scene in CB4? When G Money, his name wasn't G Money in CB4, but the dude that played G Money in New Jack City, when he told Chris Rock, "Man, shut up and eat your big ass biscuit." It was this fictional restaurant that sold big ass biscuits, and that's what they call it on the menu, big ass biscuits. Jerry Rice. But should we be surprised based on his comments about Colin Kaepernick a couple months ago? Maybe we shouldn't even be surprised, man. We'll talk about it when we get back. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show.